All right, let's dive into a breakdown of tech entrepreneur Dan Martell's ranking of the best and worst AI tools for your business. I mean, this guy has personally tested over 500 different AI applications to create a guide that really cuts through the hype. So let's figure out where the real AI gold is buried.
And this quote from him really hits the nail on the head, right? We're in the middle of this massive AI gold rush. It's everywhere, and you're trying to figure out, okay, what's the real deal and what's just, smoke and mirrors. Martell's whole goal here is to give us a map to find the actual treasure.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll get a handle on Martell's ranking system itself. Then, we'll walk through every single tier, from the absolute must-have S-tier tools all the way down to the F-tier stuff you should just avoid. And we'll wrap up with what you can actually do with all this info.
Okay, so to make sense of this crazy, crowded space, Martell came up with a really simple but super effective tier system. And this isn't just some random list he cooked up. This system comes from him getting his hands dirty and actually testing hundreds of these tools in his own AI incubator. And the beauty of this system is how simple it is. Seriously, take a look. S-tier, these are the non-negotiables, the must-haves. A-tier tools are powerful, but maybe a little more specialized. B-tier is where you find great tools for specific niches. C-tier, well, they might work for you, but it's a long shot. And F-tier? Yeah, as he says, just don't even bother. So keep this in mind as we go through the actual tools.
Let's kick things off at the very top with the S-tier. And look, according to Martell, these aren't just nice-to-haves. He says these are absolutely essential for any business that wants to have a fighting chance in the next few years. All right, so here they are, the big guns of the S-tier. You'll recognize the major language models for sure, but there are also some crucial automation tools and a couple of others that you might not have heard of, but you'll definitely want to know. Let's dig into why each of these made the cut.
Yeah, no surprises here. ChatGPT is right at the top. I mean, think about it. Almost 700 million people use this thing every single week. It's way more than just a tool at this point. Martell's take is that it's basically become too big to fail. It's the starting line for AI literacy. But hey, it's not a one-size-fits-all game. Martell says you need a whole toolkit. For deep, accurate research, he says Grok is the one to beat. Claude still comes out on top for certain writing and coding jobs. Gemini's real power is how it plugs right into everything Google. And Perplexity? If you need an AI search that actually tells you where it got its info, this is your tool.
Okay, so we've talked about generating ideas, but what about doing things? An S-tier tool has to help you automate your business, and that is exactly where Zapier shines. Think of it like the universal adapter for the internet. It connects over 6,000 different apps, letting you build these amazing workflows without touching a single line of code.
Okay, this one might be my favorite on the S list. It's called Granola. It records your calls so you can get notes and summaries. But here's the genius part. It records from your side. There's no awkward AI note-taker bot that joins the call. The other people have no idea. It's totally private, totally frictionless. Martell calls it a secret weapon, and I can see why.
Okay, let's move down one level to the A and B tiers. Now, don't get me wrong, these tools are absolute powerhouses. They can provide massive value, but they're more like specialists compared to the all-rounders we just saw in the S tier. So in the A tier, we've got some incredible stuff. You've got other automation tools like Gumloop and N8N. We'll actually compare those in just a sec. Then there's 11 Labs, which creates these freakishly realistic AI voices, a total game changer for anyone making content, and Buddy.pro, which is like building a custom AI brain that only knows your company's info. So really powerful, right? And this slide is a perfect example of why this tier system is so smart. Zapier gets the S tier because it's the king, right? It does everything. But Gumloop, it's A tier because its visual interface is just a dream to use for a lot of people. And NN is also A tier because it's this open source monster for developers who need total control. See? All fantastic tools, just built for slightly different people and problems.
All right, diving into the B tier. This is really the home of the specialists, especially for creative work. You've got Runway for AI video, Midjourney and Leonardo for incredible images and art. There's HeyGen for making avatar videos just from text. And then there's Lovable for quickly building little custom apps to solve business problems. So you can see these are amazing for certain jobs, but they're not something every single business is going to need.
Okay, now for a really important part of any good ranking, what to avoid. This is the part of the list that can save you a ton of headaches. Honestly, this section could save you more time and money than any other.
So the C tier. These aren't necessarily bad tools. It's more that Martell finds them, well, situational at best. The big issue with these is that even if they solve a real problem, it's often hard to see a clear return on your time or money for most people. They're just a little too niche.
And that brings us to the very bottom of the barrel, the F tier. And he only put one thing in this category. One tool he says is all sizzle and no steak.
So what is it? Yep, Apple Intelligence. Martell does not mince words here. His point is, look, the marketing is slick, the privacy angle is great, but the tool itself, it just doesn't perform. His advice is pretty simple. Just use literally anything else we've talked about today. Okay, so we've seen the good, the bad, and the ugly. We've gone through all the rankings. But let's be real. None of this matters if you don't do anything with it. Knowing about the tools is just the first step.
So what's the game plan? Martell lays out a super simple 3-step process. Step 1. Pick one tool. Just one that sounded cool to you and install it. Like right now. Don't put it off. Step 2. Set it up for a real task you actually have to do. And step 3, and this is the absolute key, you have to force yourself to use it for 2 weeks. Because it's not about knowing the tool exists, it's about building the habit of using it.
At the end of the day, a guide like this is just a map. You're the one who has to actually start walking. The technology is here, it's ready to go. So the question for you is, which new habit are you going to build first?